How far have you dipped your toes into the world of AI? Some folks are still very reluctant and some are jumping in head first. Today we'll be talking with Henry Hayes. He's the co-founder of Disrupt Ready, a company that helps companies use AI to further their business. And they also do a lot of education. You'll meet Henry right after this.
You're listening to Better Radio Websites, the definitive podcast for radio professionals who want their websites to generate more traffic and substantial revenue. Get time-tested techniques, secret tricks, and valuable tools in online content, marketing, analytics, security, social media, and much more. Ready for your radio station to dominate digital in your market? Here we go.
Hi, it's Jim, and welcome to Better Radio Websites, the podcast that wants to help you get more visitors and the most revenue from your radio station website. Thank you so much for tuning in this week, and if you haven't, be sure that you like and subscribe. And if you're listening to this podcast, be sure to check out the video version of this on YouTube, where you can like and subscribe there as well. You'll want to really jump into the video version of this so you can actually see the guest that we're talking with this week, Henry Hayes. He's the co-founder of Disrupt Ready. I've heard Henry speak a few different times as a keynote speaker, and I had a chance to this past week to see him at the Mississippi Association of Broadcasters annual convention. An amazing speaker and a fantastic person. If you ever have a chance to see him speak, be sure that you take advantage of it. And I'll just, as a sidebar here, if you're not a member of a state broadcasters association, be sure that you do. They do a lot of great things for broadcasters. All of the state associations do. And I was speaking with some of the executive directors, and just one phone call to ask them a legal question, just maybe something that you're going through, can more than pay for your annual membership. So do be sure to check out your state broadcasters association. But getting back to Henry and the world of AI. Now, we've talked about AI several times here on this podcast. I'm eat up with it. I'll just go ahead and tell you that right now. I always want to know what's next, what's coming up, and AI, it's something that is happening faster, better, every single day. There is another news item. It's probably not something that you're going to have your finger on the pulse of, but we here would like to keep our finger on the pulse of the things that are happening new. And in the world of AI, new is happening every single day. And I go back to a lot of folks are very reluctant to even do anything with this. And it takes me back to, imagine the disruption that occurred back when, horses went away and everybody's driving around these automobiles. And when the internet first came around, a lot of folks were reluctant to even get online. I don't know anything about computers. I'm going to get my newspaper, and that's where I get my information from. AI is that kind of a disruption. That's the part of why that Disrupt Ready is the disruption is a part of that name. Henry Hayes is at the forefront of everything new and helping businesses use AI to enable their businesses to do a whole lot more with less, more efficient. It's just amazing. So without further ado, I'll let you see Henry for yourself. We have it now. This audio, it's not the best. We were at a Mississippi State Broadcasters Convention last week. So, but check out Henry here. Henry, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Anytime, Jim Sherwood.
All right. So please tell us about you, Disrupt Ready, and how'd you get into AI?
So I'm a classically trained analog sales guy, 53 years old, been in sales my whole career, and was part of an exit of a company in about 2014 where I was able to kind of step off the hamster wheel for a while. And right at that time, Jim, the Blockbuster video stores in my town started closing, boarded up. And I thought that was such an odd sight. So I got bit by that bug of disruptive innovation, meaning new technology matched with the new business model. And a guy named Clayton Christensen, who teaches at Harvard and has written a lot about the subject, I just immersed myself. Sure. And I knew at that point that if they could get Blockbuster, who was next? And this is 10 years ago. So I've really dedicated the last decade into learning the new rhythms of technology, And then in that learning, what's become very clear to me is we don't do change well as humans. And when change is fast, we really don't do it well.
Right.
So AI was obviously an easy kind of area for us to step into because we saw it coming when OpenAI launched in November of 22. We were kind of on top of that. And so we made a couple of bets. One, which was legacy business executives were going to need a guide because this stuff's moving way too quick. And Jim Sherwood's not going to go sit for 4 hours of Python training per week.
Right.
Very few are.
Right.
And so we thought, okay, somebody's got to make sense of this. And so that's what we do. And it's been a great run. There's all kind of stuff emerging, and it's never a dull moment.
Yeah. And so where did you get into specifically AI in this? And when you've seen all of this thing disrupting, as you said. I mean, was it when ChatGPT launched, or were you doing things before that?
It was before that. So 2015, Sam Altman and Elon Musk opened up OpenAI. And so that was a research company, but we had an eye on what they were trying to do. Two things happened then. We found out that the world's data size is doubling every 2 years. And then GPUs, or graphical processing units, really started to become central to this technology. Meaning, if we could analyze this data 50 to 100 times faster, what's next? And that's when it got real interesting. So, ironically, Google was in a better shape to launch than OpenAI was,
Right.
but OpenAI launched GPT-3 to the markets in November of 2022. So that the genie then left the bottle because I could teach a 5-year-old in 2 minutes how to use it. And when you have that kind of ubiquity in a technology, it's going to catch like wildfire. And that's what's happened.
All right, I got you. And now you're here at the Mississippi Association of Broadcasters Conference. You're among probably the people who are less apt to jump on this AI bandwagon because there's so much. There's fear, there's copyright, there's all this other things. What do you say to all of those? The people who are like, I'm going to wait till it does this, and I'm not going to worry about it until then.
Well, part of my having this mission, Jim, is to say, I want you to see the bullet that gets you. As opposed to, I don't feel good if I say, gosh, she didn't see the bullet that got her. That's on me. So if I spread my message, and by the way, the drumbeat's getting louder almost by the week. If I spread my message and they choose not to do something, so be it. But I don't want folks like this in good communities like we have here in Mississippi to get Blockbuster, quite frankly, because I've always got this image of maybe some 29, 30-year-old kid that was the night manager and showed up for work the next day. Maybe he had his first baby or just starting his career, and his choices are not very different. So at least people need to have the optics to here's what it is, here's how it works, here's the speed with which it's moving. You need to make some choices. And if they don't do it at that point, then so be it. But I can't live with myself if I don't say, hey, I told them.
Right. Because I think you can probably agree with this. By the time that these folks who are like, I'm going to wait till it does this, and this, their competitors are already going to be doing all of that and more, and they're going to be left behind once they decide just to get on board with it.
Well, Jim, even before AI, my message to businesses were, hey, the barbarians at your gate don't look like you. They don't have your experience on purpose. They don't look like a traditional 25-year banker or someone who's been in real estate for 20 years. Why? Because they're taking uses of technology, looking at your margin and saying, I think I can do it better and cheaper. And they're winning those bets a lot of the times.
Right.
Guy who started Netflix, nothing to do with Hollywood or entertainment. He was a logics guy. Just figured out how to ship things to us, and we like that. So that was before the advent of AI. So now with this new technology and new weapon, boy, the barbarians really don't look like they used to. So I've almost got an urgency now, Jim, to where it's like, guys, yesterday was the best time to get in. And even if you do a little bit of the work and say, we know what it is, we know how it works, we know who's using it in our business, and we're watching and waiting. I don't love it, but I'm better with that than I am a shoulder shrug and going,
Sure.
I don't know. And then here's the dangerous thing too, Jim. We do it with a lot of folks that are saying, Henry, look, I got 3-4 years left. I'm going to hang them up. I understand that, but what about everybody else?
Right.
So this is a leadership component to this too. So it's, again, the speed is changing so quickly that you got to get in.
All right. So what do you recommend the very first thing that radio stations do to get in?
I think the easiest thing to do is sign up for a free ChatGPT account. We have an ultimate guide to using that technology for non-technical people. Things like mood, tenor, voice, persona, direction, specificity. That's called prompting. Anyone can learn how to do that. It just takes time. And you'd be surprised once the light bulb goes on of seeing it, the snowball begins to roll downhill going, wow, I didn't know it could do this. I mean, now it's getting really good at image generation,
Right.
which ironically, this is a large language model, and yet it's so good at generating images that people are beginning to use it for that. So the first step is to get an account. Now, ChatGPT is not the only large language model. Cohere, Perplexity, Gemini 3.5, Llama. There's a bunch of other ones, but the most well-known is ChatGPT. So start, get an account, play around with it, and then I think you take that next step.
Sure. What do you think would be the ultimate if somebody said, I'm 100% in, what should I be doing?
So if you're a business and you're 100% in, you need to look at your customer data, who controls it, and then how do you grow as a business by using it in your own sandbox. And
Okay.
this is particular to Disrupt Ready in my company. So the traditional software as services or SaaS offerings, they've worked until now, meaning Jim pays his subscription or his license, he gets to use it as long as he keeps paying. The outcome's fine. Well, now Jim figures out what this technology can do specific to his data. Well, the traditional SaaS provider is not going to change. So you're at a choice now. You need to either build your own system with a company like ours, or you need to stick and stay in the traditional SaaS world. If you do that, you're kind of backed into a corner, because the second you don't pay that licensing fee,
Then all
there
that's
goes
gone.
your data.
You're right.
Yeah. So that's a more nuanced choice, but it's coming.
Yeah.
And we deal with that every day.
So what kind of data are we talking about? Are we talking about everything from like the sales management, or are we talking about website, or are we talking about users, or what are we talking
I'll
about?
give you a very specific example. Here at the MAB, I finished yesterday my keynote. I ran to a room because I had another keynote virtually with 500 florists around the country. Okay. In their world, imagine a system where that first party data, what Jim Sherwood has bought, when and why and for whom, it means a lot. Why? Because there are ritualistic buying patterns in that business. So what if Jim has a system whereby it says some sort of alert, text message, voice, I don't love email, but something using our technology where Jim is given a week's heads up. Hey, Jim, it's your mom's birthday. Do you want to put the same order you did last? And Jim hits 3 and it's done. So that takes a fraction of the time for Jim, the customer, as opposed to in the 11th hour, gosh, I got to order those flowers again. I've got 8 other things to do. Do you see?
Sure.
So that florist has now made your life a lot easier.
Right.
And it's done for you.
Gotcha.
So those type of walling off that data such that they can then dominate, because I had a question from that group that said, what's to prevent Google from getting in the florist business? Not much.
That's right.
But I think that the one piece they do have, they're all regional, just like the broadcasters here. So Biloxi means Biloxi, and Jackson means Jackson, and Hattiesburg means Hattiesburg. But if that's your strength, you got to index and double down on it. Meaning you have to find a way to serve those customers better than you have before.
It really makes sense to jump in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and if you haven't, can they reach out to you, and you like? Are you guys using Disrupt Ready as a consulting service?
So we do 3 things at Disrupt Ready. Number 1, we educate, because a lot of folks just don't know what this is.
Right.
From the education, we then help provide strategy. What should our 18 to 24 months look like? What should we be looking at? What are the options? And then the third thing is we build all the things that we strategize on. So it's a comprehensive kind of full stack development approach, meaning we'll take you from spelling AI into a daily insertion of the tool, because I know that once they feel it, the outcome, they'll ask, well, what else can it do? And
Right.
what else? How else can we automate?
Sure.
And that's where we're here to help. So we do all that work, and a lot of it's education up front, just to dispel what it is, what it isn't. Again, taking a look at their business, popping the hood. It's really 3 things at the end of the day. It's efficiency. Is the business running as efficient as possible? It's, are your folks as productive as possible? And then how do you make more revenue?
Right.
And those 3 things, every business owner, regardless of their handle on technology, understands.
Fantastic. All right, so let everybody know how they can get in touch with you. I mean, because I know somebody's going to want to say, okay, maybe I'm 50% in, but I need Henry to get me to the 100.
Yeah, so there's 2 things. I'm at Henry Hayes, Hays on LinkedIn. And for the Jim Sherwood listeners, if you connect to me and say, heard you on Jim Sherwood, I will send you, we have an ultimate guide to ChatGPT. It's 29 pages. And then we have a PowerPoint that's called the Prompt Collection. It gives you a framework of how to get really good at prompting. I'll send that to your listeners for free just because, a bonus of your listenership.
All right.
So that's easy. And then Henry at disruptready.com is my email address.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
Henry, thank you so much.
My
I
pleasure.
really, really appreciate your
All
time.
right. My pleasure.
But talk about someone who has their pulse on AI and what's happening and how you can use AI to further your business. Be sure to reach out to Henry for all kinds of great information, and be sure to hit him up on LinkedIn and ask for that free ChatGPT prompt resource just by mentioning Better Radio Websites. All right. So hopefully this information has helped you. If you haven't used AI for anything, you don't really have to fully jump in, like I said, 100% and having, the AI look at all of your data and all of your customer information and stuff like that. Get a ChatGPT account. Check out some of the images that are being done in Midjourney and the Flux models, and see what resources are out there. We're not looking to replace anybody's job with this. This is you're going to be using AI to make the things that you do right now either more efficient, faster, and that's really what AI is going to be. It is the technology that is going to be a part of your life either now or later. And when I go back to, at the first, when the internet was first here and folks were like, man, I don't know about this being online. And, I get my newspaper delivered every day, so I don't have to really, go into a computer. Can you imagine that back in the late 80s and early 90s, people thinking that way? And even further back, no, you know what? I just want my horse to go faster. I don't need one of those four-wheeled, whatever they're called. All right. So this is one of those things that's going to make your job and the jobs that everybody's job really a whole lot faster moving forward. This is what's happening now that is very, very similar to when the internet first came about. So I see that. Hopefully you do, and that is part of our job, is to educate folks a lot. Like Henry, we're here to educate you and give you the best resources as possible. So if this information has helped you, be sure to like and subscribe and share this out with your radio colleagues. We so much appreciate that. And if you need help with your radio station website, well, reach out to us at skyrocketradio.com. Hopefully you have an awesome week making your radio station website better. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Better Radio Websites. Remember to subscribe, leave a rating or comment, and share this episode with your team and radio colleagues. For show notes, archived episodes, and more free resources, visit betterradiowebsites.com. Need help starting or making your radio website better? Visit skyrocketradio.com.